Yes, let's start.
Great. Hello everyone, Kayla here from Huobi Global. As usual, I bring another very interesting speaker to our webinar. I'm here with Tim, who is CEO and founder of Lunar Strategy. I'm going to let him fully introduce himself, and very looking forward to this webinar as we will cover a lot of interesting topics for many entrepreneurs out there which are in the crypto space and they're launching their venues right now and they do not have the experience on the marketing field. I'm sure the team will cover it all here.
All right. Yeah, happy to be here with everyone. To give a quick intro, myself, I started with the crypto currencies back in 2017 and got my first NFT in 2018. And then around 3 years ago, I started a crypto marketing agency. And what we basically do is we help crypto companies grow and grow their communities. And over the last few years, we have helped hundreds and hundreds of companies. And right now we're a team of 20 people, mostly based in Europe, that work full-time with, basically helping crypto companies grow and reach and educate their audiences.
Good. That leads me to my first question. Again, as you've been working with so many ventures in the space, my question will be, how will you foresee what is going to be the next few months in the crypto industry in terms of marketing? We have seen this year a development in marketing in so many stages. We have seen that now companies are allocating more and more budget to marketing, and there is a reason for it. We like to clarify why, and we like to clarify how is marketing going to impact crypto ventures in the next few months.
So it's a very good question, because it's after, of course, myself, I was in the bull market in 2017, all the way up and then all the way down for a few years, where it was like a slower market. When it comes to budget, what we could see, especially is when it's very turbulent, that's where clients often cut their budgets. And I remember when the Luna UST thing happened a few months ago, how just overnight companies were like pausing all budgets because you don't know what is happening, and people were like, let's take the defensive approach until we know a little bit where the market is heading. So I think, like, regardless if the market is going up or is going down, investment in marketing is always important. And it depends a little bit what channels to use and what kind of strategies that you use in a bull market compared with like a slower market where we are kind of right now. And here we see more and more companies that are investing in long-term strategies, like building up their relationship with different influencers, thought leadership, SEO, and more content marketing. While, like, kind of when the market is going up a lot, then of course there will be larger budgets in a market that is very like strong and when it's up and up and up. But I definitely see a lot of companies that are investing right now in building up their communities and the long-term marketing strategies, even in a slower market.
I think one of the questions that many entrepreneurs in the space ask themselves is marketing essential since the first moment? Or when do you recommend for crypto ventures to allocate a budget for marketing? In which phase of their creation?
So this depends a bit back to budget and resources of the project. Because if you can yourself, with your initial team, find a good storytelling and a good product market fit that your community is like positively reacting to, then that's when I would start with marketing. However, in some cases, if you're trying to build like a project from the beginning, then of course you could, even before you have launched, consult with a marketing agency, because then it's possible that you find the right storytelling and the right messaging that resonates with the community earlier. Yes, that's kind of where like a marketing consultant or a marketing company often can come in and support you with, okay, so investing in our project is kind of like becoming a shareholder in our project. Okay, that might be a good story. Or it's all about the art. And so in order to be able to grow and actually even effectively use marketing, then you kind of need to get to a stage where you have a community that likes what you do and resonates with what you do. And sometimes investing early in marketing can help you to get to that point quicker.
Of course. Now let's go into the do and don'ts. Which is the major mistakes that you see that companies in the crypto space are committing in terms of marketing? That you have seen it throughout 2022, and you see, and you can definitely warn people to not do it again. What's definitely your don'ts?
I think the biggest one is to believe that it's a quick fix that can solve everything within just a few weeks before launch. So let's say a project has built up and then they are like, yeah, we're launching in 1 month. Let's turn on the marketing and build up the community. That's often a recipe for maybe not succeeding, because marketing is something that, especially in the crypto world, is, in order to be able to succeed, it needs to be focused on building up a community. I think another situation is where a company doesn't have a messaging or a storyline that resonates with the community, and then they are just throwing money on the marketing to try to fix that. And if you don't have a project or a story that resonates with the community, regardless of how many hundreds of thousands of euros or dollars you spend, you kind of waste a lot of money, because sometimes you can succeed by kind of like shifting a little bit on how it works. But most of the time, like spending large budgets on ineffective storytelling and ineffective strategies. And I think large, and the last bit I would say is believing that influencers will solve everything, and then just go out there and pay whatever the influencer asks of you without like having a good approach. Sometimes I've also seen projects that are investing like tens of thousands into celebrities, believing that the celebrity will solve all of their problems. However, quite often the celebrity's audience doesn't understand, and then you have kind of wasted a lot of your budget on a failed campaign.
From this last intervention that you did, I do have 2 more questions, very interesting ones. The first will be, we have seen a rise in the use of KOLs in general for increasing the community of a project. I agree with you in the sense of it must be the right person, the right ambassador. Any tip on how to choose the best ones? Any tip of how to choose the best ambassadors, the best brand ambassadors? And as you said, what would you say for an entrepreneur that is already trying to invest in those KOLs? What's the best way? Is this better to go to a marketing agency like Lunar that already have a very good structure for KOLs, or is best to manage it individually? What's your recommendation on the matter? Because I do know that right now a lot of people are investing money on KOLs, but they are not making the right use of those resources, let's say. So what's your opinion on the matter?
So to start off, what we have seen as a company working really well in basically this full year is finding smaller authorities within the niche. For example, if it's a Cosmos project, then if you find a core people and build up a little bit like of a framework of the core key opinion leaders within that ecosystem, then even the smaller or mid-sized ones can deliver a lot more value to your project than the larger ones if they have the right kind of an audience. So to start off, the core is to find like within your specific ecosystem. It could be like what chain you're using or kind of what niche you are in. Find a core key opinion leaders there. Then when it comes to actually getting out the message, what we have seen working really well, or like a quite common mistake, is that you pay an influencer to post about you doesn't mean that their audience will even be interested. So what we have seen working really well is, for example, focusing more on educational content from the KOLs. This could either be on YouTube, it could be like a review of the project that we have seen like can have a quite effective effect, because then it's a person that is going over a project within their circle of influence. So let's say, for example, it's a Solana influencer, then they go over a Solana project. That means that their audience is used to wanting to invest in the latest upcoming Solana project. Then that could be a good fit on YouTube. On Twitter, what we are seeing working really well is threads. So it can be that we get an influencer to write a thread about your project. And then in the next step, we can get other key opinion leaders within that niche to reshare and retweet the thread, so that the thread kind of goes viral within that specific community. So if you have, in the beginning, I used an example of a Cosmos influencer. Okay, so you have a Cosmos influencer that has a strong influence on the Cosmos community. Then you get another few people that have like an influence over that community to retweet that initial thread. That's kind of how you can get quite a large organic reach from those activities. When it comes to if you should do it yourself or with a company, here it comes down to one part, that is what's your expertise and what's your experience. Is it something that are you good at writing Twitter threads? Do you have the time to invest in this? If so, then go ahead. And your key things to remember is that there's a lot of scammers, which means that you need to do a lot of auditing of the KOLs and their audiences. When we started out, we also got scammed quite a lot in the beginning, like 2-3 years ago, lost tens of thousands. So it's important to remember that there's a lot of things that can go wrong if you do it yourself. And then you also need to take experience and time and money into account. Otherwise, if you have a marketing consultant or agency, of course, then they have built up like a framework that can maximize it and make sure that you actually launch the campaign according to the best practices. So it depends a little bit what your circumstances are, but I think if you are not very much of a technical person that knows a lot about Twitter, quite often to hire a professional is the best way to go.
Yeah, and I agree, because they do have the expertise and they have invested the time on that to create that structure. And also, more important, you guys have gone through all of those mistakes, and you know that that's not going to happen again for you. So you're actually saving time to all those ventures. Great. Let's go a little bit into now communities. Tim, can you give the audience a few tips on creation of a community? Again, how Lunar has been helping to create those communities, and why do you think it's a key part of a project success, like you said in the start?
So building a community, Of course, so as a company ourselves, we built up a Web3 marketing community. And this has been built through a lot of different organic strategies. One part, I would say, that is a core pillar of building up a community is establishing thought leadership. Because why would anybody join a community? Because they get some value out of being part of the community. And how can you as a community communicate that, yeah, it's actually a good idea to join our community because you will get something out of it? It is by providing educational value and providing thought leadership, opinion articles. So what we have done is we have built up, so like personally, I write for like places like Cointelegraph, NFT Plazas, and quite a lot of authoritative places where I write guides about marketing. And then these we share within our community. And then we kind of build up the leadership. So we have multiple, like the leadership and the moderators from our community that are basically experts within Web3 marketing. And then the leadership of the community is always like finding ways of giving value and showing that we are authorities within the niche. So the first part is why should anybody be in your community? What value can you give to them? And then work in different ways of showing that value in forms of articles, interviews, maybe it can be YouTube videos, and basically giving value back to the community. And then when you and your community becomes the leading authority within your niche, then you will over time organically get more people to commit. Then of course there's a lot of other strategies when it comes to paid marketing and how you can speed it up. And maybe to add another few more of the free tips, community directories. There is a lot of community directories where people go to find a community to join. And a lot of them have where you can list either your community for free, or you can even have a paid option where they list you a bit higher up in the community directory. It's kind of like a coin market cap or communities. And then you can search within that leadership, like this coin market cap for communities, and then find your community. And that's a very good, both organic way to grow your community and to get seen as a community.
Great tips. I actually love the fact that you, the first thing you said was a community needs to give value. Otherwise, what people will be there? And many unexperienced entrepreneurs, they say, yeah, I just need a community, just let it active, let people speak, but then they don't have a strategy of value behind. And that was great that that was the first element that you highlighted of a condition of a community. Now, I know that we have covered quite a few things, and we went between the gaps because the conversation was pretty interesting, but I would like to now cover the do. So you covered the don'ts. I would like to cover some of your recommendations for entrepreneurs about what are the major top things, let's say, that any entrepreneur should be doing right now in terms of marketing. What are the probably top 3 or top 2 advice that you will give any entrepreneur in the space in terms of their marketing strategy or their marketing team?
Very good question. So in the last year, in the last 12 months, I have been, especially last year, I heard in total, I checked my Calendly account where you can see like how many discovery meetings and so on I had with projects. And it was around 600 meetings that I've had with projects and basically people that wanted us to help them with marketing. So I've heard a lot of different pitches and how projects works. And I think, so one key thing that we as a company often say no to right away is if you don't have a clear value proposition that your project is giving, that is more than we will have a meetup, or we will have we will give you art, or art can be within its own niche, but utility, like why should anybody be interested in joining your project, and what value to a person's life do you bring? So I think the first tip is to spend a lot of time deeply understanding what good does your project do? Why should anybody be interested in your project? And if you're only after making raising some money and then running away, then I don't think that you are going to make it. So I think that the first thing would be to really understand what value and what good will your project do. The second part is to, even though we live in a decentralized ecosystem and we want to build up a decentralized ecosystem, a lot of companies forget to focus on the founders, and the founding team is often a core reason why anybody joins the project. So I think that, because you can see, for example, with Ethereum, then we have Vitalik. Of course, Bitcoin is the exception, but that's kind of a pseudonym built into it. But quite often focusing too little on the founders and establishing the founders as leaders is something that I see quite a lot, because a lot of people from the founder side are a little bit like, yeah, we want to be a decentralized protocol and a decentralized community. But even in a decentralized community, there will always be core figures and key people. So to focus on not only doing marketing for the project, but also for the leadership team, I think is a core second tip that I see a lot of companies that are missing out. And then the third, I would say, is getting fixated of like a number of we're going to sell 10,000 NFTs, or we are going to raise $1 million before we do anything. Like, if you get fixated on the number like that, it sometimes can work out, but I would more focus on starting somewhere, and maybe sometimes starting small to see if you actually have something that is that resonates with the market. So focus small and then build from it, and start small. A lot of projects are not even starting because they see raising some millions or selling up 10,000 NFTs as a too big and so daunting task. So I think that the last tip would be to start somewhere. It can be start small, see what happens, and then build on top of it, and see where you can build in the long term.
Very interesting, very interesting. I think that I'm gonna do a last question for today, and my last question will be: have you seen marketing, or at least the marketing strategies of different ventures changing in bear market? Do you see a difference between marketing strategies in bear market and marketing strategies in bull market? And if so, why?
Yes. So I think one key thing is prices has gone down, and in a bull market, quite often influencers and key opinion leaders are more or less fully booked. They get I've been talking with some media that got 100 requests a day, and crazy amounts. So in a bull market, the KOLs and press can often double or even triple their prices, because the demand is so high for getting the eyeballs and getting the attention. In a bear market right now, you see we get daily requests from influencers about do you have any projects for us. So now it's the other way around, which means that we get very good deals when we talk with influencers quite often, because the demand is much lower than the supply. So right now, to actually work with media or to work with influencers, we often get very good deals in a bear market compared with a bull market. So I think that's one of the core things when it comes to strategies. In a bull market, a lot of people are focusing on the short-term goals, but now people are more focusing on the long-term, building up community, content marketing, SEO, and these parts to build for what will happen in the 2023, 2024, and ahead of that.
I agree, and it's true what you said. Sometimes in bull market, you see that people are rushing up for what is happening in the moment, so it's pretty much a short-term strategy. While right now you see people building for years ahead. They're not worried about what is happening now. They're just building the base for what is going to be the next year. And it's good that you said so. What just to wrap up, again, maybe in those a few minutes that we have left, you can speak a little bit about Lunar. A close-up about what you guys can offer to crypto companies out there, and probably just to leave as well your social media and your handles.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So to make it like simple, we help genuine value-giving companies to grow and to build their communities. And we are quite selective when it comes to what projects that we take on. And then when we work with companies, then we do everything from the KOLs, management, press releases, media, and getting out the message, social media management, community management, and moderation, where we add 24/7 moderation to communities, and then we also do paid ads on Twitter and these different platforms. Then we also have our own educational platform called Lunar Academy, which is a marketing course where we basically cover all the topics that we provide services within. And there we actually have free scholarships to people that want to learn about marketing. So if you go to academy.lunarstrategy.com, then you can apply for a scholarship, and we will approve you for a scholarship. And then you can for free learn about marketing and how marketing works in Web3.
Yeah, a small intervention here. I actually ended up reading a few articles of you guys because it's really, really good. What was a single article was very, very immersive, and it helped me a lot with a few things I was doing in my institutional department. So really, really well said. It's a really good academy.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we see and that we work on, because Web3 marketing is a very underdeveloped niche of the Web3 industry, because it's a lot of not so serious players, and so we are focusing on the marketing, improving what we do, and helping the ecosystem with good, genuine companies grow, which is kind of like our core. And I also personally am on Twitter, where I both write different articles and I publish articles that are related to growing your project. And on Twitter, my handle is Tim Haldorsson. So there I tweet daily about different marketing strategies for crypto companies.
Great. What about Lunar social media? Can you tell us the handles as well for that?
Yeah, so the Lunar one, they will also tweet educational content. It's Lunar Strategy, one word on Twitter, is where we are the most active. So I think to follow on Twitter to get some tips and the latest when it comes to growing your crypto or Web3 project.
Great team. Well, our time is up and I have learned a lot from this webinar. I'm sure that the rest of the audience have done as well. I'm pretty sure we will see again, as I would like to invite you for the next few editions of this webinar. This was extremely educational and yeah, I took a lot of good lessons from this. Thank you, team, and thank you to the LunarStrategy team.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Always happy to help and support great companies like Huobi and help the Web3 ecosystem grow.
It is. We're all in the same ecosystem and we will be for the next few years. So it's glad to see really, really talented people in the space. Thank you so much, Tim.
Thanks so much.